It's getting depressing, but there's more to be stated. Somebody's the victim of a murder that's racially motivated. The cops never caught him. Same old problems. And a torch never made it through town. As the world turns, our major cities being burned to the ground. With little concern, the system's perishing. With budget cuts, education is very thin. But the deals are living swell. They find heaven and hell from the drugs that they sell. Ghetto celebrities selling heavy keys, living their every dreams while the addicts support them. Same old problems. Bigger. Somebody pulls a trigger and inflates the figure. Bullets ring out like a choir, hit man for hire. Someone's caught in the court's fire. I know the life is shortened, and what's important is the drugs and the gear you're sporting. Dealers won't cool out. A baby's used as a shield in a shootout. A little girl's molested, her father's arrested. Practicing incest with his daughter. The law and order is making life sort of shorter. The local news reporter has a story to tell. Baby plunged to his death when he fell from the 18th floor. Nobody saw him. Same old problems.
Aloha! I am here today with three-time Guinness Book of World Record holder, Reverend Dr. Donald Thomas, also known as Donald Spider-Man Thomas for those within the world of athletics. Dr. Thomas, in 1977, you wrote the thesis called Philosophy of Divine Nutrition. What is divine nutrition?
Philosophy of Divine Nutrition is a concept developed by me over a period of years in which I observed that every religion had a diet. There's a Muslim diet, a Buddhist diet, a Hindu diet. Even within the Christian world, Seventh-day Adventists and Trappist monks have interpreted biblical scriptures in such a way that they have a diet. And so an analysis and synthesis of all of the concepts of divine nutrition within scriptures makes up my concept of philosophy of divine nutrition. Philosophy of divine nutrition is also an internal martial art based upon Bruce Lee's concept of Jeet Kune.
Why did you attempt to break the Guinness Book of World Records?
After writing my book, I found out that the publisher that I was on was not exactly as legitimate as I was made to believe. And I also was representing a school of philosophy and health called the Tree of Life School, located in Harlem, New York City. I was looking for a way of establishing the concept of philosophy of divine nutrition in a way that would be respected. I happened to be watching television one night, and there was the Guinness game show. And the announcer, I believe his name was David Frost, he interviewed this young lady who was going for the record for the longest belly dance. And every time he would interview her, she would say, "I'm doing the such and such style of belly dancing representing my school." As soon as I heard her do that the first time, the lights went on. And I said, okay, I can do some sort of Guinness record that will help establish my philosophy as well as bring attention to what my school was doing. And so I looked in the Guinness Book of Records. The first record I looked for was the longest reading, because I had relatives who had said to me that they would love to have my book done on a spoken word tape so that they could follow it. So I'd always been rehearsing doing a reading. There was no Guinness record for reading, but there was Guinness record for talking. After conferring with my teachers, we decided that going for the sermon record would establish philosophy of divine nutrition as a legitimate philosophy, and it would also put the concepts of philosophy of divine nutrition on the level of a new philosophy of life.
What has changed regarding nutrition since 1977?
In 1977, the very idea that nutrition played a role in heart disease or cancer or other diseases was still considered very radical, even fringe thinking. Within the past 30 years, organizations such as the American Heart Association, American Cancer Society, even the United States government has now given public information that nutrition and fitness have a major role to play in the prevention and reduction of heart disease and various types of cancer, diabetes, and other diseases. And so what has really changed in the past 30 years is the overall recognition by the medical community that nutrition has a major role in some of the major diseases that afflict not only Americans but people worldwide.
Why do you emphasize literacy?
Several years ago, former Surgeon General C. Everett Koop was responsible for putting out more information on the subject of HIV and AIDS than just about any public health educator in history. A year after he disseminated that information, he was interviewed, And the first thing that he said was that he found out that the people that he was trying to get that information out to were not readers. So just putting out information to the general public does not mean that they're going to read it or that they have good reading comprehension to understand just what that information means and how they should go about following through with that information. So for me, literacy is really the foundation of health. When people say you should read the labels on the food, they're assuming that people are good readers and that people understand what they're reading. Also, from a standpoint of how do you improve your overall values, how do you improve your overall standard of living? By reading more and by understanding more of what's going on in your world, you have a much better grasp of how to take information that you get and use it in your daily life. So for me, reading is fundamental.
How does nutrition play a role in African American social progress?
Of the 3 Guinness Book records that I have, all 3 were done in the village of Harlem in New York City. Harlem is considered to be the capital of African America, and I wanted to bring this information to that community because though I was involved in nutrition since 1971, there was a general attitude within the black community that nutrition and fitness and weight loss, those were more things for the white community. Yet African Americans have one of the highest rates of heart disease, one of the highest rates of certain types of cancer. African American women have one of the highest death rates from complications of diabetes, gallstones, kidney disease. And so there cannot be African American liberation until there's also an improvement in African American health. Living here in Hawaii, we have medical doctors who've done research to show how the native Hawaiian diet as a result of colonization was changed, and now the native Hawaiian people have some of the highest rates of heart disease, cancer, etc., etc. So there cannot be sovereignty for Hawaiians until there is an improvement in health. There cannot be liberation for African Americans until there's an improvement in overall health.
How does nutrition play a role in professional sports?
I can remember when I was trying to shop my book around to various potential publishers, and I said to one, I'm promoting a program of nutrition as an alternative to drugs in sports. And the gentleman laughed over the phone. This was about 20 years ago or more. Today, we have many athletes who were once respected. As time has gone on and has come out that they were involved in some form of sports-enhancing drugs, then there's also a little asterisk next to their name when it comes to their record. Sports nutrition is the natural and the legal alternative to synthetic drugs within sports. General Nutrition Center at one time was a sponsor of mine when they got ready to convert over from a general nutrition store to a store specializing in sports nutrition. There was a time when medical doctors said that there was no such thing as sports nutrition. All an athlete had to do was eat a good meal. Now we have things like marathons and triathlons where a few days prior to those events, they have carbohydrate loading dinners or lunches or parties. The reason is that over these years, it has come to find that complex carbohydrates gives you more muscle fuel. That's what you need for more endurance. There was a time when people think all you needed was more protein. Protein doesn't give you energy. Complex carbohydrates do. If you go into a general nutrition center or a health food store, you will see whole rows of various protein powders and other supplements designed to improve human performance. Those things are legal. Those things are relatively safe, and they will be the proven only way an athlete can go if he or she is attempting to improve their performance. And so nutrition benefits everyone. Sports nutrition benefits athletes the most.
Why do they call you Spider-Man?
Well, I'm giving my age away here, but I was into the Spider-Man comic books almost when they first came out. I just thanked a cousin of mine, Juan Waiters, for being the one to introduce me to Spider-Man comic books. My nickname throughout most of my childhood was Spider and Spider-Man. And like most teenagers, I put aside comic books. And I got to be older, I picked them up again as a result of my wife. Several years back, my wife reintroduced me to Spider-Man comic books after I told her that my nickname was Spider-Man and that I used to collect Spider-Man comics. She reintroduced me to Spider-Man comic books, as well as the fact that Spider-Man is referred to as a web swinger. And as the developer of New Jump Swing, some people just said to me one day, says, when you swing the rope, it looks like you have 8 arms like a spider. And so the nickname Spider-Man continues to stick after all of this time.
Donald, why does the Heart Association refer to you as a master teacher?
For about 10 years, I served as the celebrity chairperson for the American Heart Association's Jump Rope for Heart campaign. And during that time, I developed New Jump Swing, not only as a program to teach people how to jump, but also how to teach physical fitness teachers how to teach their students how to jump. And so the Heart Association refers to people as either master teachers or master performers or master teachers / performers. In the process of developing New Jump Swing and going throughout the entire Hawaii school system, they've designated me as both a master teacher as well as a master performer.
What is New Jump Swing?
New Jump Swing is the fitness portion of Philosophy of Divine Nutrition. New Jump Swing revolves around rope jumping, but along with rope jumping, there is cycling as an efficient means of transportation, as well as being very light on your joints. There is also yoga and stretching exercises, all forms of calisthenics, and as the years have gone by, an analysis of the healthier aspects of doing various traditional exercises such as jumping jacks or push-ups, sit-ups, chin-ups, things of that nature.